Okay, we're gonna hit the trail. Oh, well, not really. Although not 8-bit either. But there is a classic game on this topic that's popular in its own right and gets referenced a lot. Although it sucks when your group dies in the game and you can just restart like all games. However, if it were in reality, it was not like a restart button. Death was, well, death. And you sure ain't gonna get anyone back from the dead. Which is what the game Oregon Trail is about. But here we are gonna talk about the real Oregon Trail from the Westward expansion in Story of America cards. The Oregon Trail is a 2,170 mile, 3,490 kilometer east-west large wheel wagon route and immigrant trail in the United States that connected the Missouri River to the valleys in Oregon. The eastern part of the Oregon Trail spanned part of what is now the state of Kansas and nearly all of what are now the states of Nebraska and Wyoming. The western half of the trail spanned most of the current states of Idaho and Oregon, where the trail gets its name from. Families from east of America used this trail and many others by traveling on wagons to start new life in the West. But it wasn't easy as illness, the sun, and other diseases got in the way for some, and some people died on the way. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Start a new life without the transportation we have now. From 1843 to 1850, the greatest migration in American history moved over to the Oregon Trail. The goal of these hard settlers was the promised land of fertile valleys and plains in the Oregon Territory, some 2,000 miles, 3,200 kilometers away. Beginning in camps along the Missouri River near St. Joseph, Missouri, and as many as 800 immigrants at the time gathered to form caravans of 100 or more prairie schoolers, each one pulled by 3 or 6 pair of oxen. For 4 to 6 months, they followed the Indian trails that stretched westward across the rolling prairie, through the vital gap in the towering Rocky Mountains and towards their new life. Each trail was divided into 4 groups, and each group was led by an elected captain who struggled constantly to maintain discipline during the long, hazardous journey, starting in May when the grass for animals was turning to prairie green. They traveled 15 to 20 miles, 24 to 32 kilometers a day. And as their rolling homes cracked along the deeply rooted roads, settlers endured the merciless sun, illness, and fatigue, broken wheels, and axle. Often weeks of travel went by before the travelers could repair their wagons at the next fort and obtain new provisions. The boat-shaped wagons carried about 1.5 tons, 1,350 kilograms, for goods, including plows, tools, seeds, stoves, furniture, and even small pianos. There was little room left over in a loaded wagon, so the family cooked, ate, and slept outdoors. By the time the caravans reached Fort Laramie, Wyoming, the most treacherous part of the journey still laid ahead. From there, the tilt of the land climbed steeply towards the Continental Divide at South Pass, which they had to reach by November before snow blocked their way. Meanwhile, babies were born, old people and children died, and the trail was marked by shallow graves, by cast possessions and bleached bones of horses and oxen. During the frequent Indian attacks, men and women fought side by side, their wagons drawn into a tight circle to form a kind of fort. They forded, ferried, or built crude bridges across racing rivers, edged their way through narrow gorges along perilous mountain ledges until they finally reached the Columbian River. By 1850, it is estimated that 44,000 people had made the journey despite its dangers and hardships. The Great Migration was a success, and it enabled new settlers to organize Oregon as territory by 1848. One of the enduring legacies of the Oregon Trail is the expansion of the United States territory to the West Coast. Without the many thousands of United States settlers in Oregon and California, and thousands more on the way each year, it is highly unlikely that this would have occurred, and probably the U.S. would not have expanded west the way they did. The Oregon Trail inspired a lot to do the same in traveling the West, and that comes with stories inspired into many works about the experiences. Here are some. The arts, entertainment, and media inspired by the Oregon Trail. We definitely need to start with one I mentioned in the intro, the video game series named The Oregon Trail, with the 1985 game being the most known when it comes to classics. It was an educational video game series where you basically had a simulated experience of the Oregon Trail, including all the hardships, even the game inspired to play in 2014. There is a Western TV series from the 1970s called The Oregon Trail, which ran for 13 episodes. Teen Titans Go also had an episode dedicated to the Oregon Trail, including the video game called Oregon Trail as a parody episode, which is also one of the funniest episodes. And then there's an animated film called Calamity, a childhood of Martha Dane Cannery, who portrays the expansion of dozens of wagons to Oregon, and is part of which tells the story of a young Calamity Jane, a famous American frontierswoman. And that's the Oregon Trail. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something, and I'll see you next time in my other videos. Bye!